Hello everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. As you can see, we're still in the capital while I'm recording this. The happy birthday banner over there is because my little brother turned 6 yesterday. So that was a big celebration. Speaking of birthdays, I just realized I will be 17 by the time this video comes out, so that's weird. Anyway, so yeah, I just came back from playing a game with that 6-year-old brother and my family, and the 6-year-old brother won, which was very impressive because I never win at that game. But anyway, I'm using a microphone, as you can see, but yeah, I don't really know. I feel like the sound from my camera is better than the sound from my microphone, so I'll just be trying both, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I have been promising this video for some time and never actually making it, but I decided, now it's time to do it. So here's a video about the good things about the Ranger's Apprentice. Now, if you remember, I made a whole series about the bad things about it, so fair enough, I should make one. So, let's just get into it. First point, I really liked how the book made all jobs look cool. So, the main character, Will, he is a ranger, and obviously his job is very cool, going through the forest, learning to walk real quietly and hide, and stuff like that, and shooting the bow and arrow and using all these cool weapons. Horace is a knight, and obviously his job is cool once he gets through the first year of school. But there's also a girl who is a cook, and her job is appreciated very much as well. A girl is a courier who is, which is also kind of a cool job, and there's a boy who is a scribe. And none of these jobs are looked down upon. So I really like that although the book had cool jobs, it also had normal jobs like being a cook. But it didn't say, well, those jobs are less important than the big jobs. Or at least they didn't say they were less cool. All these characters who had those jobs were nice people. Another thing I appreciated was the healthy relationships in the book. In a lot of books you see characters and they have relationships with their siblings or their parents that aren't healthy at all. And I realize that this is often realistic. But the thing is, it also is nice to see some examples of how it should be done. Not all of these are actually that they are the things that, well, I'll just show. Holt and Will have a nice father-son relationship where they trust each other, and Will respects Holt. Horace and, this is gonna be some spoilers. Anyway, Horace and Cassandra, husband and wife that respect each other and love each other. Will and Alice, they never really delve into that though because of things that happened. But, Horace and Will are friends. Will and Gillen are basically a bit like siblings. So I like that they were romantic relationships, but normal platonic ones as well. I really appreciated that. There were also some interesting relationships that weren't as healthy to contrast things. For example, Will and Gillen are good, basically siblings, although they aren't really. But Holt and Ferris, it was an interesting relationship, let's call it that. So I appreciated that all of these relationships were put to light and shown, you can have a good relationship with family and friends. I did feel sometimes but I'll come back to this later, that sometimes some of the, how do you call this? The British form of humor, where they go back and forth at each other. Well, I thought that went a bit too much sometimes, but I'll come back to that later. The third thing is the plots and the world building are very good. You can see there was put a lot of effort into it. One thing I do think funny is that, for example, the mythical creatures such as the Kalkara and what are the other things? I just feel like calling them orcs, but they're not. wargles. I thought it was kind of funny that in the first book we had those, and in the second book it seemed as if the author, John Flanagan, was like, well, no, let's make this more realistic, and decided not to have any more mythical creatures. So it's funny to see how that changed a bit. But other than that, it was very well put together. Everything made sense. There were different cultures, and plot-wise, the characters didn't usually do things that they wouldn't normally do to further the plot. It made sense what they did, and if they did do something stupid, it actually had consequences. The only exception I didn't think was that good was still in the first book, so that can be excused, I guess, because it was the very first one, was with the Kalkara, where you heard that they might be against fire, and this was kind of glossed over until, the very finale. But I felt like if you're going to go against a creature like this, and there is even the vaguest rumor that it would not stand against fire, you could just try it, I mean, if you're gonna die anyway, you might as well try the fire thing, So, I felt like maybe, they should have done something more with that, the knights, but, what did they know about this creature? Everybody else had been killed, so... And another thing that I immediately noticed when they said that the Kalkara can, hypnotize people with their gaze, which is probably wrong, but I was going to say it anyway, was that it immediately reminded me of Greek mythology with the Medusa. But I'm pretty sure they just didn't have that mythology in this world, and I doubt it would even have worked, because you can't scare yourself. Well, I can scare myself by pulling scary faces in the mirror, but I doubt the Kalkara would work that way. Oh yes, another thing that I did found interesting was the fact that they have coffee. But on the other hand, later on they do turn out to have good relationships with people all the way in the desert. So they might as well also have good relationships with people somewhere in the rainforest who plant coffee. I don't know. The fourth thing I really appreciated was that there were lots and lots of facts in the book. Now, did I check the facts? No. Are they interesting though? Yes. The one with the fingers, to measure space, where they were like, if you hold up like 3 fingers and that's about how much it looks to you, that it usually works as well for the other person. For example, they said, if you see a rock over there and a tree over there and you want to point out the tree, you just measure how many fingers is between the rock and the tree to you, and it will be about the same for your friend, even if the fingers are a lot of different sizes. It sounds a bit suspicious, because, if the fingers are different sizes, how would that work? And I have tried it a lot, but never with another person, so I wouldn't know. If any of you know whether this actually works, tell me. So, these facts, I really appreciated them because it was just so interesting. I'm probably never going to use things like, move with the shadows, or all these other weapon stuff I learned. Like, I'm probably never going to use any of the strategical things discussed, but I still appreciated them. For a fifth point, I really appreciated that there were actually some hilarious scenes. Like, almost every book managed to make me laugh out loud, which is not a thing that happens very quickly in books, because the only thing the book can do to make you laugh is actually saying something very funny, whereas in a movie it can be people's expressions and everything, but here it really had to be the words that were funny, and it really worked, so that was really nice. I do think, what I said earlier, that some of the barbs were too harsh. Like, when they were teasing each other a bit too much. The thing is, why I'm mentioning this is because I usually read lots of books where characters would just have verbal fights, just for the fun of it, nobody got hurt. And then I tried to be a bit more witty like that, and people were not very happy about it. So, in real life, people don't like being insulted. In general, though, the funny scenes were actually funny. Lastly, something I appreciated was, I know I made 4 videos literally about bad morals, so this might seem a bit strange, but I did really appreciate, sometimes that there was still a general trend toward good versus bad, and I liked that each of the villains wasn't really, technically speaking, a bad guy with a sad backstory. Most of the villains just were bad, period, for money, for power, for wealth, for fame, whatever. But they didn't have like some sad backstory like you see nowadays, like, I don't know, their parents got killed by 101 Dalmatians, and that's now why they want to kill all Dalmatians. So, yeah, I really appreciated that. So anyway, that was it for this video. So yeah, like I said, the books have a lot of problems, but I wanted to be fair and say the things I liked about it as well. That was it for this video. It's a bit shorter than what I usually have, but that's not really a big deal. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time.